Today, my adventure brings me to Kure Beach, North Carolina, and welcome to Kure Beach here at the 227 South Fort Fisher Boulevard, I Avenue, beach access. It's quite blustery this morning as I start my little morning walk and talk. Got some things I want to cover today because I always do this in the springtime, right after the Kure Beach Fishing Pier opens to the public. I like to always make a little vlog, walk through the pier, walk out to the end and back. Just something that I've come accustomed to doing over the last few years. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this glorious morning as the sun is out. But thank goodness it is, because I'm thinking if the sun was not out behind the clouds, it would be kind of nippy out here. It's about 72 degrees, but the wind is pretty strong at times. It could be pretty brisk. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to check out the pier. We're going to walk down through Kure Beach, look at some of the hotel fronts or motel fronts. There are mainly motels here in town. And then we're going to address kind of a hot topic here in the area. If you follow the Carolina Kure Beach communities on social media at all, you might have heard about the tree removal process that happened in the last week here. I'm here in the 1st of April, so it was at the end of March actually when it happened, but they removed some trees down at Fort Fisher. Some people got all up in arms over it. I was down there yesterday, and I will say that it's not as bad as I initially thought after I read some of the comments and stuff, but I like to take you down there and kind of show you what has changed and what's still in place and things like that. Because a lot of people love going to Fort Fisher and taking photos beneath those big old yopon trees right across the road from the Fort Fisher Historic Site, like Museum Welcome Center area. So we're going to go down there toward the end of the video, and I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then we're going to wrap it up this morning. So hopefully, as you notice, I do not have a coffee in my hand right now, and that is unlike me when I'm doing these morning vlogs. But I'm kind of banking on maybe I can get a coffee when I'm inside the pier house itself. Maybe I can get me a cup of Java in there, as some people like to call it. I like that, a cup of Java. That's really awesome. So let's go ahead and get started with the walk around today. Appreciate you joining me. Let's get started. As I'm walking down the street here, I really like these houses right here. The names on them, Crane's Nest, and this one right here next to it is called the Endless Summer. And I gotta say, the Endless Summer is one of my favorite little surf documentary movies. I like the first Endless Summer movie pretty good also, which was, both of them were directed by Bruce Brown. But the second one, Endless Summer 2, I can remember when I was in high school when that movie come out and I was watching that movie. Man, I was so in love with that movie. I used to watch that movie, especially in the summertime when we used to get ready to go to the beach. I'd watch that movie over and over and over. And if you've never seen the Endless Summer 2 before, or 1 for that matter, I highly suggest both of them. Even if you're not a fan of surfing, they are very well put together documentaries. And it just travels around the world showing all these beautiful beaches with these perfect waves, and the water is just unbelievably nice. And what they're doing, they're chasing their endless summer. Like here where we have like our seasons, you know, and it gets cold. They just kind of traveled around the world from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, chasing the endless summer. So really cool concept. I wish I had the money to do that. I think that would be so much fun. And yeah, I would love to kind of walk the Endless Summer Trail if I could one day. Okay, we arrived at our first little motel right here, the Sand Dunes. No vacancy. They need to change their sign though. I mean, Happy New Year was several months ago. But looks like they stay pretty busy right here. Now, I gotta admit, this was a really busy weekend. Right across the road, we got the Seabirds. They got a vacancy sign up. They got rooms. But Admiral's Quarters Motel, no vacancy. So the oceanfront side has got a few more people partaking in their oceanfront views than if you're across the street. All right, and just past the Admiral Quarters, we have Southwind Motel. And they are open, even though their little vacancy, no vacancy sign up there on the left-hand side right here is actually not illuminated at the moment. Don't know what's going on there, but they are open. They do have cars in the parking lot. And that just brings me to another question. When you guys go on vacation, you come to the beach per se, are you more oceanfront, or does it bother you to stay like a block back or whatever, where you might have to walk across the street to get to the water? Just curious. All right, now I've made my way over here to kind of the town center of Kure Beach. As you can see, we have Big Daddy's restaurant, which has been over there like forever. And then right here, Escape to Paradise, Jack Mackerel's Island Grill. Really enjoy coming here. Me and my wife come here at least once or twice a year and eat. It is a very, very busy location in the summertime, as you can only imagine. And I don't know if they still do it, but I know back before 2020, you could set up here and actually see the ocean as you eat food. And I really enjoyed that a lot. And I hope this year they reopen that upper part up there, because I really enjoyed setting up there. Now I know if you are a server, you know, a waitress of sorts, you might not like walking up the steps to take care of the people setting up there. I totally get that. But all in all, it's still a great experience setting up there. Maybe if you do set up there, maybe you just throw just a little bit extra tip. Maybe that would be worth it. And since I'm here on a Sunday, as you can see, they got the sign out this morning. Beach Church today at 8:30 a.m. Kure Beach Pavilion by the pier, which is just right over here behind where these cars are parked. We will walk over there shortly. And but first, let's take a little walk down the way here and look at some of these storefronts. The high-tech arcade, been around a lot of years. Let's go look at that stuff. Look at this little guy right here. Little? I don't think so. That is one big cat. This here could be a mama in the wings, looking at her belly. But she is hanging out right here in the front of Happy Hippie's Java Hut. Right there is some of the signage that you can see at Happy Hippie's Java Hut. And yeah, I guess the cat is just kind of playing guard cat today. And right here is the high-tech arcade. If you're a fan of arcade, they got quite a nice assortment of games and stuff in there. And this time of year in spring, this right here is their hours. Just open Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays from 2 to 9. But really nice people that run this place. Okay, right next door to the high-tech arcade, we have Freddy's restaurant here in Kure Beach. Right there is a little shot of some of their appetizers that they offer here. We got some salads. Right here is their pastas. Really good stuff. And something right over here from the grill that they're really known for is their pork chops. I know it's an Italian restaurant and you don't always think of pork chops. You always think of like more pasta style food, like, you know, like chicken Alfredo and things like that. Kind of give you an idea I run through, but their pork chops here, my friends, are awesome. They are really, really good. They got an amazing flavor to them. The taste. You even got lamb chops. I've never tried lamb chops before, but I have tried their pork chops quite a few times. It's really good. So yeah, definitely come to Freddy's if you are a fan of Italian food. And sometimes you might want to call ahead because they fill up pretty quick. So, you know, making sure you have yourself a table is not a bad idea. And right next to Freddy's, we have a vacant building right here. But right next to that on the very end is the Ocean View Restaurant, breakfast, brunch, and fried chicken. Okay, and right here is the location of the Kure Beach bathrooms. And this is the area where they have Sunday morning beach church. Look at all the people that comes out here with their chairs and sets up. It's quite a nice little turnout this morning. And you will also see people all along the boardwalk over here sitting and watching. If they don't have a chair, they just sit across the street and listen. All right, so I made my way down the street just a bit. And right here is the cottages at Kure Beach. They have their web address on there, www.cottageskb.com. And then right across the street with ocean view is this place, 7 Seas Inn. I really like that sign. That is a really awesome sign, you gotta admit. And right here is by the Pier Motel, ocean view rooms, fish free on the pier Monday through Thursday, no vacancy, HD TVs and Wi-Fi. And right there it is. Pretty cute little place. And this right here is Beach House Burgers, which has always been a mainstay here in town. Really good hamburgers here. This is a good little burger spot. This place is a hopping little place on those busy beach days, that is for sure. Right here is their business hours at this time of the year, which that will actually change. I don't know if you guys can see it or not because of the reflection, but it actually Friday from 11 to 7, Saturday 11 to 7, and Sunday, easy enough, is 11 to 7. But over the summer months, you will see this place open pretty much daily, I'm pretty sure. So, and for right now in the springtime, there is no ice cream, but that's okay. They still have your hamburgers, hot dogs. I love that double cheeseburger right there. That thing is really, really tasty and good. I don't think I've ever tried a hot dog here. I always go for that double cheeseburger with chili and slaw mustard. And this is pretty impressive. I love seeing restaurants with a sanitation rating of 99.5. That is really cool. That is a hard score to find when you really pay attention where you go and eat. Always look at the sanitation rating. If you can find them 95 or higher, it's almost amazing. There's so many of them, 92, 93, but 99.5, that's almost 100. That is pretty cool. When you focus on that American flag up there or the Kure Beach Pier sign, you can really see how quickly the wind is blowing and the clouds are moving very fast. So all that being said, let's go on inside and walk out the Kure Beach fishing pier. All right, I made it into the pier house. I did score me a cup of Java, as they say. Ooh, that's hot. Woo! My taste buds are gone. That is piping right there. That is some really hot Java. But I was in there talking to the guy who sold me the coffee, the old fella in there, really cool dude. He was in telling me how jam-packed the Kure Beach fishing pier has been over the last week since they opened. I thought they just opened this past Friday, and I was incorrect. They've actually been open about a week, and I'm here during the 1st of April, so the last weekend of March is actually when they opened up, and he said the fish has been good. A lot of people catching whiting and stuff like that. The water temperature is about 61 degrees down here at the moment, so when it gets up around about 65, that's when the Spanish and the blues and the drum and all that stuff start biting and making its way into this area. You got to remember, my philosophy when it comes to pier fishing, in the springtime when you come down, I always like to be on the south facing side of the pier, because as the warm waters move north from, from Florida up the coast with the Gulf Stream, normally the fish run in that direction. They're coming from the south to the north. And then when you're here in the fall months, October, November, and you're fishing, I like to be on the north end of the pier because now they're running from the north to the south. Don't know if that's, other people think that way or not, but that's just kind of how I've always judged it. And it's always worked for me, so I just kind of go with it. Even though it's extremely windy today, it's still very peaceful to sit here and sip on your coffee and just watch the waves roll in. I mean, just look at that. That is just so nice. Now, would it be a little bit nicer if the wind wasn't blowing, 15, 20 miles an hour? Of course. But it's still something very just nice about it. All right. And check this out right here, this sign. You can see that. It says Home of the Misfits out here at the very end. They have a no shark fishing, no alcohol sign out here at the end posted at the pier. A lot of people over the years have kind of signed their names. Hey, you do that on days where you're not catching much, I guess. I guess you got to keep yourself entertained, right? And now we have made it all the way out here to the very end of the pier itself. Looking way out there in the far blue yonder, as they say. See some pelicans out there. They must be a school or something out there, man. They're just having a field day out there in the ocean. This bird right here, this little black bird, he is a bandit. I just watched him when I was coming by. There's some bait right there in that bag, and he got over there with his sneaky little self and got him some shrimp. So always remember, when you come out here to do some fishing, make sure you have a nice sealed container. I know some places when they're selling shrimp, bait, stuff like that, they just give it to you in a plastic bag. I would probably say no to that, not go that route. Get you some kind of container where you can put a lid on it and make sure it's good and sealed up, because these little birds out here will definitely snag it. I gotta say something, man. Kids don't ever change. It doesn't matter how cold the water is, they will get in it. They will put their piggies in it and find a way to have fun and just get into some water. It was like that when I was a kid, and all these years later, it's still like that. That's kind of cool to see. So all that being said, I'm thinking this is probably going to just wrap it up for me here at the Kure Beach Pier. Now I'm going to drive down to the south, down in that direction, to Fort Fisher. We're going to look at all the tree removal, brush removal that had gone on this past week, and then we're going to wrap it up. So let's go ahead and drive in that direction. All right, as we drive down the road here toward Fort Fisher, I always like to show off this property. This is called the Glass House. Look at that thing. Is that not epic? They got the windows open. I think that is one of the coolest homes in Kure Beach. And it looks like they're going to have some neighbors because they got a lot of construction going on right here on the boulevard. All right, I made it down here to Fort Fisher. You can see the old Civil War monument right here behind me. But this is where they have removed a lot of underbrush, quite a few trees it looks like. We're just gonna walk around the property today, but this here's what it looks like now. And I know somebody put in the comment section down below in an earlier video, they heard they was gonna put live oaks. They was gonna plant some live oaks down here in this area, but as you can see, they definitely removed a lot of the brush and stuff. They're just like broken twigs and things like that kind of left behind. And I seen a post on Facebook originally about this, and I seen a picture, and all in the picture I really seen was just maybe this right here, maybe that much. I couldn't even really tell where it was at. And then somebody else uploaded some pictures, and I could see Highway 421. This here actually takes you down toward the Fort Fisher Aquarium, and the Fort Fisher Ferry Terminal is in this direction, and Fort Fisher Historic Site is right across the road in this direction. This is just where everybody comes in and parks here at this little overlook. But all in all, it's not as bad as I first thought, because when I first heard about this, my heart dropped, because I was reading the comments and some people were kind of up in arms over it. They were not very happy, talking about destroying all these beautiful trees. We take pictures down there and things like that. And I immediately thought it was directly across the street from the Fort Fisher Historic Site. And there's some tunnels up there that I used to climb through in the thicket when I was a kid. And I've always kind of coined the name the Bat Cave because it kind of feels like a cave when you go in. But I thought that's what they destroyed. And maybe they're not done. Maybe that's coming. I don't know. Time will tell. But I was very happy to see when I showed up down here yesterday for the first time to see that this is what it was. Because all in all, when you look at this, is a driver. I think it looks, I mean, right now it doesn't look pretty, but when you're coming around the corner here, it gives you more visibility of what parking's available and things like that. And if they do plant live oaks and things like that here in this area, I think over time it will become very pretty, because live oaks are very beautiful trees. They really are. I love a live oak tree. And I like yopon trees too. But yeah. But let's walk over here. I'll show you the area that I'm talking about, and kind of show you why I like it so much and why my heart kind of sunk when I first seen that right there. I'm happy it's where it's at, and it's not in my happy spot over here where everybody likes to go and takes photos and things like that. So let's walk over there and check it out. All right, so this right here is the area that I was afraid people were talking about. As you can see, right across the way is the Fort Fisher Welcome Center, the new structure, just recently opened in the last 6 months. But this is the place that I thought they destroyed the trees when I first seen the post and the comments, you know, because look at this. This would be horrible. And hopefully they don't do anything to these trees, because this is an awesome place to come when the sun sets in the evening, right back over here in this area in the west, and the gazing of the rays kind of stream through these tree branches, and it makes an awesome picture. It is so freaking pretty. And I love it down here. These trees are awesome. If you notice when you're down here, because the wind blowing out of the southeast so much in the summer months and stuff, look how they grew. They kind of like wind blown. They all have that little lean back just from the relentless wind. And then right down here at the end, as the flies have found me, man, good gracious, they are everywhere, man. I don't know, and the wind is not even bothering them. They like my camera because they're just buzzing around it, but right down here is the bat caves, I like to call. And I thought they was going to remove that. And if they remove that, I get it, you know, because it's just shrubs. But, you know, plus homeless people at time will find refuge in those little caves, you know, to stay out of the weather and get some shade. I get it. But yeah, let's walk down here and just to show you what I'm talking about, because who knows? They have removed those trees that I showed you when we first arrived down here in the parking area. And maybe I just don't know no better, and these are going to be next. I don't think so. But if they are, at least we documented what they used to look like. And this here is what I'm referring to, is all this like shrubbery growth right here. This right here is the old cave. You got to watch yourself, because man, these things here are prickly. They will definitely take some flesh when you walk in. But yeah, somebody keeps this kind of trimmed out as I kind of walk in right now and remove the spider webs and stuff. But you can see what I'm talking about when you come down in here. It is kind of just a canopy, but I don't think people come in as much as they used to. You still have this little trail right through here. And it used to be way more opened up on the inside than this. But over the years, stuff has really grown. And now it's a little bit more just a thicket with just some light little trails in it. But you can definitely see how it does give you a little bit of shelter in here. But, you know, let's go and get out of here, because I'm telling you, the flies are everywhere right now. And I think I know why. And I'm going to tell you as soon as I escape from the cave. All right, so real quickly, I decided to walk across the street where the Fort Fisher Welcome Center is. They got some really beautiful trees over here. And I just wanted to make sure these trees was unharmed also. And it looks like everything is still good over here. This is a great place to come and take photos and pictures and things like that. And I'm glad they have not touched anything over here. And that being said, I want to get back on point with the fly issue that I'm seeing down here. There is a ton of flies that just flies around in like these little swarms. And I think the unearthing and the removal and the changing of the environment has something to do with that. And the reason I think that is because last summer, me and my wife went on a cruise to a place called Lighthouse Point at Lookout Key. And it was a brand new, like just open construction and everything, like beach excursion area in the Bahamas. We was on a Disney cruise. It was their private little peninsula that they have there that they own now for the next 100 years or whatever. And we went there, I documented everything there, and everything was so beautiful and new and awesome. But when it come to be like supper time, you had to fight off flies to eat your food. And I felt so bad for the cast members there that are serving you. It's like a barbecue style, you know, they have like pork and all kinds of stuff. And I remember they had these like saran wrap over all the food, and the flies are everywhere, and everybody just fighting them off. They're putting fans to try to blow across and make a crosswind, make the flies stay away. But they told us down there, some of the locals there in that Bohemian area actually said the reason the flies are such an issue, it will dissipate over time within a few months. And it's because of this, all the construction, the unearthing, and it just changes the environment so much the flies just freak out, man. And it really stirs them up and they go crazy because you just took their home away. So that could be why I'm seeing quite a bit of flies. We noticed it last night when we was down here with my niece walking around, and then I noticed it again this morning. And the wind is very stiff, and it doesn't matter. They're still out here in droves, you know, just buzzing around your face and everything. So it can be quite unpleasant, if you know what I mean. So all that being said, my friends, I'm all done today. Thank you so much for watching. This will conclude my vlog here at Fort Fisher. That's my little 2 cents about this. Hopefully over time they will plant some live oaks and things down here and pretty this up. I know right now it doesn't look very attractive, but hopefully over time they will make this a nice little area that we can all come and enjoy in the future. That being said, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, my friends. I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.